Welcome to your deep dive. Today, today we're going to be cracking open Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey. But get this, we're adding a layer of ancient wisdom.
We're talking Buddhism, Taoism, even a sprinkle of Jainism.
Exactly. You sent us this awesome analysis, connecting the book with Eastern philosophy. Someone's been doing some serious thinking.
Yeah, it's wild how this children's story can spark such deep questions. Like, how do barons' encounters with these underground societies, how do they actually mirror real world issues? And what can these ancient teachings, what can they tell us about compassion, respect, and navigating power dynamics?
Okay, so right off the bat, Baron meets the Rattlebrains and the Micromen, and let's just say he's not exactly Mr. Congeniality. He's all like, "Your culture is weird, and you guys are so backwards." It's giving major judgy tourist vibes. Am I right?
Totally. It's like he's looking at everything through the wrong end of the telescope.
Yeah.
And and it's something we've probably all been guilty of at some point, right? That knee-jerk reaction to judge what we don't understand.
Oof. Yeah, definitely been there. But what's the Eastern philosophy take on this?
Well, Buddhism has this beautiful concept called metta, which is all about loving kindness. It's about extending compassion to every single being, no matter how different they are from you.
Okay, I'm feeling that. So more live and let live, and less my way or the highway.
Exactly. Now imagine if we applied metta to something like online bullying. Instead of tearing each other down, we could try to understand where that person is coming from. Maybe even offer a kind word. It's total game changer. And speaking of treating others the way you want to be treated.
Ooh, is that where Confucianism comes in?
You got it. Confucianism emphasizes Ren,
Yeah.
which is often translated as humaneness or benevolence. It's like the golden rule, but on a whole other level. Confucius believed that respect and tradition were essential for keeping society running smoothly.
So less me, and more, we're all in this together.
Exactly. Now throw in a dash of Taoism with its emphasis on wu wei, or going with the flow, and you've got a recipe for a much more peaceful existence. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, he said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished."
Okay, that's actually really profound. I'm already feeling more zen just thinking about it. So Baron, if you're listening, take some notes.
Right. But here's where things get a little more complicated. Baron encounters the Selenites, who are described as being super fragile and vulnerable.
Yeah, not the most politically correct term these days, but we get the idea.
Right. And instead of treating them with kindness and understanding, Baron basically uses their weakness to his advantage.
Not cool, Baron. That's crossing a line. It's giving me flashbacks to those shady businesses that prey on vulnerable people, like predatory lending or exploiting migrant workers. Sadly, it happens way too often in the real world.
And that's where these Eastern philosophies can really offer some guidance. Buddhism emphasizes karma, the idea that your actions have consequences. The Dhammapada, a key Buddhist text, says, "Hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful."
Okay, so basically, what goes around comes around. Like if you're a jerk to someone, you're gonna get some bad karma coming your way.
It's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
But essentially, yes. Your actions create ripples in the universe, and then there's Jainism, which takes nonviolence. Takes nonviolence to a whole new level. They call it ahimsa, and it applies not only to physical harm, but also to your thoughts and words. It's about recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every living being.
Wow, that's deep. It makes you really think about how you treat everyone you encounter, not just the people you like or agree with.
It's a constant challenge, right? And this brings us back to Baron's, shall we say, lack of patience. He's so quick to judge and dismiss the Rattlebrains without even trying to understand their ways. He's like, "Speak my language, follow my rules, or get out of my way." It's exhausting just thinking about it.
I felt that. It reminds me of those times when I'm trying to explain something to someone and they just aren't getting it. And I get all frustrated and impatient. It's like, "Hello, patience is a virtue."
Oh, and it turns out there's an Eastern philosophy for that too. Buddhism teaches Khanti, or patience, as a key virtue. The Dhammapada actually calls it the highest austerity. It's about training your mind to stay calm and steady even when things are challenging.
Okay, highest austerity sounds intense,
Hmm.
like climbing Mount Everest of mental discipline. So how do we cultivate this superpower of patience?
Well, it starts with mindfulness.
Yeah.
Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You take a breath.
Mhm.
You observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So it's like hitting the pause button on your inner drama queen. Sign me up for that.
Yeah. And remember Wu Wei, that Taoist principle of going with the flow. It's about accepting things as they are rather than trying to force them to be something they're not.
Okay, that's actually really helpful. Like instead of getting all worked up about that slow driver in front of you, you just accept that they're going their own pace and you can't control it. Maybe even put on some chill music and enjoy the ride.
Exactly. It's a total paradigm shift, and it can be applied to so many situations, from dealing with difficult people to navigating life's inevitable curveballs.
Okay, I'm sold. Patience and going with the flow. That's my new mantra.
But let's not forget about Barron and his blatant disrespect for diversity. He treats the micromen and Solonites like they're inferior just because they're different. It's like he completely missed the memo on the beauty of diversity.
Seriously, it's like he's stuck in that my way is the only way mindset. And I've caught myself doing that too, especially when it comes to when it comes to cultural differences. Like why do they do things that way? But then I have to remind myself there's so much value in different perspectives and ways of life.
Absolutely. And this is where Confucianism comes in with its emphasis on lay
Mhm.
or ritual propriety. Confucius believed that rituals and traditions were essential for maintaining social harmony and respect for elders and those in authority. Authority was paramount.
So basically good manners matter.
More than you might think. It's about creating a framework for respectful interaction, even when people have different opinions or come from different backgrounds.
Okay, so maybe Barron should have brushed up on his Confucian etiquette before venturing into those underground societies.
Definitely. And let's not forget about Taoism and its concept of yin and yang.
Hmm.
Those two swirling forces that represent the interconnectedness of
Oh
opposites.
yeah, like light and dark, masculine and feminine, all that good stuff.
Exactly. It reminds us that diversity is essential uh, for balance and harmony in the universe. We need those contrasting forces to create a dynamic and vibrant whole.
It's like that saying, the beauty of the world lies in the diversity of its people.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to Barron's treatment of the Solonites. His actions really highlight a lack of compassion. Instead of seeing an opportunity to help, he sees a chance to exploit their vulnerability for his own gain.
It's giving major used car salesman vibes. Like preying on someone's desperation. And it makes you think, how often do we do that in our own lives? Maybe in more subtle ways. Do we prioritize our own needs above the needs of others, especially those who are
And
struggling?
that's a question we should all ask ourselves, and it's where Buddhist teachings on karuna or compassion come into play. It's about recognizing the suffering of others, and feeling a genuine desire to alleviate it.
And I'm guessing Jainism, with its emphasis on ahimsa, would say that all life deserves protection and care, regardless of how strong or vulnerable it appears.
Exactly. The Mettasutta, a Buddhist text, uses a powerful analogy. Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so let one cultivate a boundless love toward all beings. It's a beautiful and challenging call to extend our compassion to everyone, not just those we deem worthy.
Wow, that's intense, and it really makes you think about how you treat the people around you, especially those who might be going through a tough time.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity and extending a helping hand whenever possible.
So it seems like Barron could have used a crash course in Eastern philosophy, before embarking on his underground adventure.
Definitely. Those ancient teachings offer some timeless wisdom on how to navigate the complexities of life with greater compassion, respect, and understanding.
But you know what's really fascinating to me? We're just scratching the surface of these complex philosophical concepts, and yet they're already making me question my own assumptions and behavior.
That's the power of deep thinking, right? It challenges us to grow and evolve.
Totally. And I bet there's a lot more to unpack as we continue our journey through Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey.
Oh, absolutely. We've only just begun to explore the ethical dilemmas and philosophical insights that this story has to offer.
So stay tuned, listeners, because we're about to dive even deeper into the world of Eastern philosophy and its relevance to our modern lives.
It's fascinating to consider how differently Baron's adventure could have unfolded if he'd embraced these Eastern philosophies.
Yeah, imagine if instead of storming in with his judgmental goggles on, he'd taken a cue from Taoism and just observed the rattlebrains way of life.
He could learn so much from their unique perspectives.
And think about the micromen with their focus on practicality and efficiency. Maybe they could have taught Baron a thing or two about problem solving and resourcefulness.
Absolutely. Instead of dismissing their differences as weaknesses,
Mm.
he could have recognized them as strengths.
And what about the Solonites if he had approached them with compassion instead of seeing them as easy targets?
He could have forged genuine connections and maybe even learned from their resilience in the face of hardship.
Okay, so these Eastern philosophies, they sound great in theory, but how can we actually apply them in our everyday lives? I mean, we're not all exploring fantastical underground societies.
That's a great question. It's about making conscious choices moment by moment to align our actions with these principles. For
Yeah.
example, next time you're stuck in traffic and feeling that road rage bubbling up, try tapping into Kanti, that Buddhist concept of patience we talked about.
Okay, so instead of laying on the horn and mentally cursing out the entire universe, I take a deep breath and chant a mantra.
Not necessarily. Just try shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing it as an inconvenience, see it as an opportunity to practice patience. Maybe listen to some calming music or use the time to reflect.
I like that. It's like turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. And when you encounter someone who has completely different views than you, resist that urge to judge or argue. Instead, try channeling metta, that loving kindness vibe. You might be surprised at what you learn.
It's like that saying, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind. Always.
Perfectly said. And when you find yourself in a position of power, even if it's just deciding what to have for dinner with your family, remember karma and ahimsa. Make choices that benefit everyone involved, not just yourself.
So it's not about becoming a monk and living in a cave.
Not at all. It's about incorporating these ancient principles into our modern lives in practical, manageable ways.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those times when we inevitably mess up? Like we lose our patience or make a selfish decision? Are we doomed to bad karma forever?
We're all human. We're
Right.
we're gonna make mistakes. The key is to recognize them, learn from them, and try to do better next time.
So no need to beat ourselves up.
Exactly. Remember Wu Wei. Sometimes it's better to accept our imperfections and go with the flow, rather than striving for some unattainable ideal of perfection.
That's actually really liberating. It takes the pressure off.
And remember, every moment is a fresh start, a new opportunity to practice these principles. The more we do it, the more natural it becomes.
It's like building a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Precisely. And just like physical exercise, it can be challenging at first, but the rewards are so worth it.
So what kind of rewards are we talking about? Will I suddenly become a Zen master with superpowers?
Well, maybe not superpowers, but studies have shown that practicing mindfulness and compassion can lead to reduced stress and anxiety, improved relationships, and even increased feelings of happiness and well-being.
Wow, that's amazing. So not only can we become more ethical individuals, but we can also improve our overall quality of life.
Absolutely, it's a win-win-win-win situation.
Okay, but let's be real. The world can feel pretty chaotic and divided right now. Does practicing these principles really make a difference on a larger scale?
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the state of the world. But remember the ripple effect.
Sure.
Each act of kindness, compassion, and understanding, no matter how small,
Hmm.
can and have a positive impact on those around us.
It's like that saying, "Be the change you wish to see in the world."
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe if enough of us embrace these principles, we can create a more harmonious and compassionate world, one interaction at a time.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to Baron's story one last time.
What's caught your attention?
Well, it struck me how each of the underground societies he encountered, they represented a different facet of human nature. The rattle brains with their unconventional ways, the micromen with their practicality, the Selenites with their vulnerability. It's almost like a microcosm of our own diverse world.
That's a fascinating observation. Perhaps the author was trying to show us that even within a fantastical underground realm, we can find reflections of ourselves and the challenges we face in navigating our differences.
And maybe the lesson is that instead of fearing or exploiting those
Mm.
differences, we should approach them with curiosity, respect, and a willingness to learn. Who knows what incredible insights we might gain.
Perhaps that's the true treasure buried within Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey.
Okay, that was deep.
That's
I'm
fine.
I'm feeling I'm feeling inspired to put some of these Eastern philosophies into practice. What about you?
Absolutely, it's a continuous journey of learning and growth.
And speaking of journeys, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We've explored some pretty profound concepts from meta to wu wei to karma and beyond.
And we've seen how these ancient philosophies can offer practical guidance for navigating the complexities of modern life.
It's all about making conscious choices, cultivating positive qualities like patience and compassion and recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
So the next time you're faced with a challenging situation, remember those lessons from the East. Take a deep breath. Channel your inner Zen master and approach the situation with a fresh perspective.
You might be surprised at the wisdom and insight you uncover.
And who knows, you might even inspire others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and ethical growth.
Because ultimately that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Evolving as individuals and creating a more compassionate and harmonious world for everyone.
It's amazing how a story that seems like a simple children's adventure can spark such deep conversations.
That's the power of storytelling, right? It
Yeah.
lets us explore complex ideas and ethical questions in a way that's engaging and accessible. And when you add in these timeless philosophical insights, it's like the story takes on a whole new dimension.
I'm curious, do you think the author of Baron Trump's Marvellous Underground Journey, do you think they were intentionally weaving in these Eastern philosophies, or did they just kind of emerge organically from the story?
That's a great question. It's like the beauty of art is that it can speak to us on multiple levels, even if the creator wasn't fully aware of all the layers. It's up to us, the audience, to interpret and find meaning in the experience.
And that's what we've been doing today, right? Taking a children's book and turning it into this profound exploration of ethics and personal growth.
Yeah, it reminds us that wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places. Sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective and a willingness to look deeper.
So for anyone listening who hasn't read Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, we highly recommend checking it out. It's a fun adventure story, but as we've seen, it's also so much more than that.
And as you journey through the pages, keep those Eastern philosophies in mind.
Yeah.
Let them guide your interpretation and spark your own deep dive into the ethical dilemmas that Baron faces.
Let's be real. We
Yeah.
all have a little bit of Baron in us, right? We've all made mistakes. We've all struggled with impatience and judgment, maybe even a touch of arrogance from time to time.
But the good news is we can learn and grow from those experiences. We can choose to embrace, meta, Ren, Wu Wei, and all those other wonderful principles that can help us navigate life's complexities with greater compassion, understanding, and integrity.
So the next time you find yourself face to face with a rattle brain or a sullenite or maybe just a coworker with a different opinion, remember those lessons from the East.
Take a deep breath, practice patience, cultivate compassion, and who knows, you might just discover a whole new world of wisdom and wonder.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those minds open.